Hey, Mark here. Now, before we start the episode, I'm just going to give a little bit of an intro. So, a couple of weeks ago, I caught up with my good buddy and Talking Joe founder, the man Chief, to talk about his G.I. Joe sketches and his commissions from his collection. Now, as always, we did this as a live stream on YouTube, so it is a very visual episode. So you're more than welcome to just listen and imagine the art, or you can pop over to YouTube and watch the art on the screen as we discuss it. Alternatively, you can also head on over to patreon.com/talkingjoe, where I will make a posting with a PDF of all of the art that we discuss, so you can download that and have a look before or during listening to the audio content. So with all that said and done, and your choices of how you consume this episode decided, let's go.
Live from the Talking Joe studios, it's Talking Joe.
Talking Joe is on the air.
Hey there, it's me, Mark, and welcome to Talking Joe. We are back with a sketchbook special. We've not done one of those in a while. And with me today will be the Chief, who will be talking about some of his G.I. Joe-centric sketches and commissions that he's had over the years. So without further ado, I'll play his jingle and stick him in the stream.
Shoes. 8 pairs. Rubber nipples.
Ah! It's me, the Chief.
There he is. I was trying because I could see you getting ready with that expression. I was like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah,
How you doing?
Not bad. I had the call. Well, no, I'm terrible, but we'll come on to that in a second. I had
no.
the call up from Funky Bunch, and always a privilege and an honour to be invited back as a guest on this show. So thank you very much for that, sir.
Always a pleasure.
Just getting over COVID, still got a cough, which is annoying. And then my toilet backed up and flooded again at the downstairs neighbour's bathroom. So now I've got to get the drainage specialists in next Thursday, and they've got to dig out the drain, the outside waste pipe. That's £700. Thank you very much. And I've just been to the Sandown trading card show last weekend, where I was selling a lot of Marvel and Star Wars products and stuff, and I made about £735.
Oh wow! I could see the loadout of your bike.
That's all going on the
That was another story.
That was a mission, riding a motorbike with like £3,000 worth of sealed product on the back of your bike. Interesting, but I got there safely. But anyway, there you go.
By accident more than by design, I think.
Yes. Now we're busy people because you're doing a double recording. Yeah, you got this fantastic episode, but you're also recording a regular G.I. Joe A-Ra episode later today. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. We're talking about Devil's Due later on.
I'm also Devil's Due. I'm also pulling double duty because I'm recording an episode of What Saga as well. So we are podcasting to the gills today.
Wow. Yeah, my family are away today, so
you got a free pass. I wondered why he was agreeing to do a recording at like 1:00 on a Saturday. I thought you'd be under the pump.
Exactly. Under normal circumstances, perhaps not. So,
what are we doing today?
As at time of we are recording, we are live. So if you want to shoot in those comments as watchers, then you can. So today we are talking about your sketchbook collection. So we're getting deep into it. Let's go sketchbook.
Sketchbook, here's my sketchbook. I can show it to you if you wanna have a look. Sketchbook, here's my sketchbook. And now I will stop this song.
There we are, it's sketchbook time. And Chief, over the years you have gone big into G.I. Joe sketches and commissions. So we're going to be taking a look at those today.
I will say that we have seen some of these before on some of the Sketchbook specials, but always nice to revisit them. And you know, I wouldn't say the collection is massive, and I have most assuredly slowed down. But there's a few nice pieces in there to talk about, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Very, very modest. And because it's just you and me and no Tim, we're gonna go quicker, and we're gonna go and we're gonna go for breadth rather
And we're
than
going
depth.
less intellectual talking points.
Yeah, none of that intellectual stuff here today.
Yeah.
We'll get.
Whoa! Look at this drawing; it's amazing.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for much more than that's nice, you come to the wrong place. So let's start up. We've got the first one
Oh,
is Serpentor.
yeah.
Dave
This is
Watchter.
Dave. What is it? Watchter or Wachter? Not sure how you pronounce his name.
Yeah,
But this was London Supercon or London Film. Yeah, London Supercon. I
London
think one of the
Supercon.
last
Yeah,
years
hmm
that it was on. And you got some stuff from him as well, I believe. Did you?
that's right. I got one
Yep.
from him at the same time. Yeah,
I got two pieces. I got this one, and I got Molaram from Temple of Doom.
that's right.
And these were on. They weren't A4. I don't know what that translates to a US
Yeah,
size, but they weren't
so
A5. They were kind of like a smaller,
middle size. Yeah,
yeah, mini size. And he was just doing this kind of head bust ones. And
we
excuse me,
tapped him up as a pre-order, I think,
we
because
did. Yeah,
we were on it like a car bonnet and
yep.
saw some of the cool stuff that he'd been posting on social media, and this is back in the heady days of 2015.
Yeah, I wasn't overly familiar with his work, but this was back in the period where I would get the guest list for who was at cons, and I would meticulously just go through every person and then just Google and see if I was. Obviously, a lot of the artists we were familiar with, but there was a lot of names there that weren't. I didn't know their work, so I would Google them up, see what they'd done, and if it was Cheers Badger, and if it was
He's
something.
using up all of our good commentary there because all I've got is that's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so if someone's art, you look nice, whatever, then we'd hit him up for pre-orders. And this one, I don't think these were unreasonably priced. I'm going to take a random guess and say they're about 35 quid.
I would struggle to say, but in this era, you could still get some really nice stuff without breaking the bank.
Exactly.
And
This
Dave
was before
Watchter,
the boom, the super boom
still,
period. Now he had
yeah.
done some Godzilla stuff, possibly.
Maybe, yeah. He'd done his own project called the Guns of Shadow Valley from Dark Horse, and a project about a golem, and so it was sort of yet to kind of hit the real big time. And then after this, he started doing Turtles, and he's done Iron Fist for Marvel, and I think Aliens. So he's doing much more mainstream stuff now, but his stuff is cool. Absolutely it's great.
Nice close in. I like the eyes on the headdress. But cool expression. Pleased with that one.
Yeah, lovely grey tones as well. So I think we're on a
works good in black and white, doesn't it? And grey tones rather than colour. This is definitely not affected negatively or detrimentally by not having colour. It looks good.
Yeah, I think I was actually on a Serpentor bent because of this piece here. So that was one of your early ones where you asked artists to do kind of Talking Joe branded commissions.
Yeah. I was looking to do some kind of PR or some kind of something pieces to get more people listening and put some artistic weight behind it. And so Rod Wiggum, the legendary Rod Wiggum, did this one for me, and very pleased with this.
Yeah, excellent Serpentor behind the podium.
Yeah,
and all hand lettered by Rod Wiggum as well. So that's great stuff.
We never got a Cheap and Mark one done.
We never did. No. I wonder why. Okay, but this is a very cool one as well. This was Mike Vosberg, who was one of the key artists on the early run of G.I. Joe. He did a lot of the key issues sort of running up to around about 22, 23-ish.
Yep. Lovely shadow. He's not used it much, but he's kind of used it just underneath Cobra Commander's legs and the side of the chair. And just really, really nice.
Yeah, one of those
Really
artists.
nice. That's all we got.
Really nice. Do I have the coloured version? No, I don't. But yeah, he did
Okay.
knock up some digital colours on that one as well.
Yeah.
Next
Ah,
up,
this is
Road
Brian
Pig.
Gawler, I think, is the artist's name. I've got a few pieces from him. I've got in my Ghost Rider honor, I've got Ghost Rider in a 1966 Batmobile piece.
Ah, right, cool.
Kerouac.
So
I think he's Kerouac
that's right.
on Twitter.
Artist Brian Gawler, known professionally in the art circles as Kerouac, and he's actually done some G.I. Joe tangentially related stuff professionally now as well, because
Right.
he did some stuff for the Action Force Redux series that the Blood for the Baron chap has
Cool.
commissioned.
Yeah, I found him on Twitter, and he'd done some just G.I. Joe fan art. And then he was doing his own Mask comic. I think it was like 4 issues.
Right.
Which looked cool. I liked the style. It was really cool. And then I was just looking for, this is like an homage to, I think it's Thor number 337.
Oh, right. Of
which
course.
is Thor or Beta Ray Bill, I should say, with Mjolnir crushing through the Thor logo on the cover.
I knew I recognised it from somewhere.
Yeah. I should have mentioned that, and then we could have had a side-by-side comparison, but I didn't. So that's on me.
I'm I'm just trailing behind. I'm going to get there.
Oh, he's going to have a look. He's going to have a look to see if hopefully I'm not wrong.
Time.
Oh, look at this. There you go. Beta Ray Bill. What a cover, Walt Simonson. Incredible.
Great stuff.
So there you go.
Great
stuff. To that.
Love it. So what next?
What next?
Lineups, Chief.
Usual suspects. Yeah, so I went through a phase of thinking. I always like to try and do something different, because for me, it's a bit boring. You go to an artist, you say, "Oh, can you do me a Spider-Man? Oh, can you do me a Batman?" It's like, well, everyone's asking for that, so let's just try and do something different. So I was thinking, what themes are there of characters that would work well in a Usual Suspects police style lineup? And so I did some 2000 AD ones. Daz Johnson, Kev Hopgood did some, and then I thought, G.I. Joe villains would work well for this, and then I did some 80s cartoon heroes and villains and stuff. But yes, obviously G.I. Joe. I think I've got 2 G.I. Joe based ones.
Let's find out, shall we?
Oh, look at this one. So this
do you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, so when I'd seen Kev Hopgood, and those that don't know, Kev Hopgood, co-creator of War Machine, in the pages of Iron Man, along with Len Kaminsky, back in the must be early 90s, I think. It was around issue 280 of Iron Man, so it would have been the early 90s, and co-created that suit, which James Rhodes would go on to wear to much fame. And I'd seen him at a comic convention. I think it was London Film and Comic Con, and he did me a Destro piece. And then after the show, I contacted him and said, "Look, I'm doing this lineup style theme. Any interest?" He's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he did this is a digital version, because he had been away from the con scene for many, many years, and he just thought, well, no one wants physical anymore. Surely everyone wants a more refined digital copy. And I know the majority of people want physical hand drawn, but I was more than happy for him to do digital. So he did. If you go back to the black and white one, he did this as a digital copy. He then printed it, and then he did. Oh, actually, I've got another version of this where he did a grey tone ink wash over it.
That's right. Yeah. So it's sort of a combination of the digital and the physical. He printed it out and added grey wash tones. Nice. Yeah, it's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, so you do get that almost one-of-one essence, because I think a lot of people that rally against the digital version is, well, look, once this has gone up online in a high-res format, anyone can just effectively take that image, and then has it lost its one-of-one personal appeal to the original commissioner who paid that original money for it? I don't I'm not bothered about that myself. If it's a good digital image and other people can get it, and I'm the one that paid for it, I'm like, so what? It doesn't bother me. But then he did do me a digital coloured version as well, which we saw, and
Yeah.
quite bold on the colouring for this one. The red's
Yeah, I
very
mean,
bright.
he is, he is old school, and that is his style. It's sort of bold shapes, bold, and also, in the colors, bold colors.
Yeah.
But what I love about this is just
Oh
the,
no, this is
the
the
fizz.
Inquash one. Sorry, yeah, I can see. Or is that? No, that's not the Inquash one. No,
Don't
I
know.
don't think it
Those
is.
are all digital colors, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all different shapes and sizes. They've all got this, great body language and
Yeah.
little touches.
Yeah, I love, like you said there, you nailed it there. The scaling is fantastic. Even if the file card doesn't say these characters are this big or this small, to me, this is fun. I love Destro being a big, broad shoulder, and I love Zartan being big as well. And Storm Shadow being kind of lithe and lean, and really pleased with this one from Kev.
Yeah, it's a great piece.
6
What's
foot
next?
6. 6'6" Destro.
That's tall. That's tall.
And the rest, yeah, love it.
What next? So another lineup. This is Ian Richardson, right?
This is Ian Richardson. Actually, I spoke to him last couple of weeks ago at the London Film and Comic Con, in fact, at Kensington Olympia. He was there with a table, and I meant to get him to do me a sketch there, but I was on tight for time, and I think he had a bit of a list. So, I don't know where I'd seen. I think I'd seen him on DeviantArt doing some G.I. Joe piece, possibly as a commission or fan art. He had done some work for Marvel UK and 2000 AD, amongst other publishers, and just contacted him and said, look, doing this lineup piece. And he's got a very precise, fine line, especially with the inking as well. And so I said, yeah, let's do a Dreadnoks piece, and let's maybe chuck in a couple of Dreadnoks that might not have been first choice, I guess. Maybe I guess a lot of people would have put in Zartan in there, but I thought, let's go with Serana and Thrasher, because you don't really see much Thrasher art, and
no, not
done
so
a nice
much.
job. Nice little touches, the bullet holes in the camera on the wall, the donuts and the grape soda bottles on the floor. But yeah, nice detail on this for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
That would be good as a coloured piece, actually, I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't actually get this one coloured. There's the camera that's been shot up.
Yeah, but look at the detail. Attention to detail is
donuts
amazing.
on the floor, grape soda on the floor. Nice
very
drop on
very Rob Liefeld-esque feet, don't you think?
Well, it's sort of minimalist, let's say. Yeah, the sort of tapering away kind of into the floor.
But this was a good piece, very reasonably priced as well at the time. So 2014, is that how long ago it was? 8 years. Wow.
Yeah, as I say,
It's
a nasty old lacrosse stick that the Thrasher has got. What a weapon.
I wondered what it was. So it's a lacrosse stick the netting has been taken out, and a big metal ball, which does not look light.
It doesn't,
been inserted in.
Exactly.
Very cool.
So next up, we have not quite a lineup, but I thought thematically this one fits. It's another one of the 3 original Dreadnoks.
It's another Rod Wiggum. After getting that Serpentor Talking Joe one, got back in touch with Rod, and I think this is the time where I looped you and your brother in as well, and we all got commissions done at the same time from Rod. And
we kept him busy that month.
We kept him busy. And you got some cool pieces. You got that recreation of the issue 31, didn't you?
That's right. Yeah, I think that might have been a bit later. I think that might have been a second bite at the old
right.
Wiggum.
Peter got Storm Shadow with the shark in the water. But yeah, here we go. Dreadnoks. I kind of just said, look, can we get the three Dreadnoks, 3 sort of not main Dreadnoks, but the 3 of the original Dreadnoks.
3 originals, yeah.
Yeah. Under. Well, I don't even know if I gave him a brief. I just said the 3. Can I have Buzzer on a bike? And that was the only.
Oh, you did say that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Prerequisite, but yeah, cool. He's kind of nice bit of perspective with rather than all standing on the same plane. He's got them almost 3 kind of diagonally in front of each other.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you've got a diagonal there, and it's sort of the body language. It's all sort of storytelling and some doing different things. It's not just
Yeah.
the bolt upright.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking the same, and you could swap out a head, and you've got a different
Yeah, exactly.
So it's each one has got a lot of different sort of personality coming through.
Character. I like the two things I like. The small things I like the tassels on the handlebars of the bike, and I like the fact that the Torch to a small extent and Ripper are breaking out of the frame of the
just
frame
peeking
that Rod's
out just over
created.
the side. Yeah.
But again, yeah, nice, lovely lines, Rod Wiggum. Beautiful, clean lines.
Very precise.
Mm.
Okay, it's Destro time. Now, as you shared your commissions and sketches with me, Chief, I noticed that there was a bit of a theme, and that one of the themes was Destro. So he's clearly a character that appeals to you.
Like the
whether
character,
you realised it or not.
I like the design. I just think he makes a cool image. I just think, and no disrespect to people that like characters like Duke or Hawk. do you want to just get consistently just a guy in combat fatigues all the time as art? Or
I know one person that does.
Oh, do you?
Well, Diana Davis, Duke is her favourite character, and she's got literally hundreds of Duke commissions. It's
Diana.
Very, very narrow focus on the Joe commissions that she wants. It's Duke centric, let's say. But yeah, Destro's interesting one as well, and room for a lot of the artist to do a different take that you're not going to see. An artist ever draw Destro quite the same way.
Especially the mask. Especially the mask is always going to be slightly different. Oh, there you go.
How much metal? How much angle? How much of it is a rigid mask versus kind of a more kind of naturalistic face? So, here we go. Chief, tell us about this one.
So, who is this artist? I'm drawing a blank.
This artist is Scott Kowalchuk.
That's correct. Yes, correct. Apologies, Scott. So he did some art on Batman 66 for DC.
Oh, right. That's the connection.
Which is
I was looking at this and thinking to myself, okay, it's cool. You've got Destro, and he's an arms dealer, and he's maybe doing some deals with these Batman villains, but it is a little bit random. So, that was the missing piece.
If I can tie in a theme to artist stuff, I will try and do that. But yeah, I'd seen him post some stuff online about commissions, and I was like, oh, I like the style, and I'm a fan of Batman 66, even though I hadn't read the book. I think Jeff Parker was writing it, and I'm a fan of Jeff Parker as a writer. So I contacted Scott, and he was up for it, and I said, look, let's have Destro maybe trying to sell a Batmobile, and then he kind of just went from there. So who we got? We got Joker, Penguin, and Riddler that are potential interested parties in buying this Batmobile that Destro has managed to get hold of.
So we can see this one was commissioned during the Chris McLeod era of Talking Joe as well, because it's with Chief and Chris.
Yep. So lots of blacks here, but that works very well. If you're going to have floating heads, I think you need a kind of dark background behind them. Otherwise, it kind of looks a bit weird. But so this again is another image, like we were saying, that definitely isn't hurt by not having colors on it, and works very well with this lot of stark blacks.
Okay, cool.
Destro, old school phone there as well.
It is, but it works. It fits his personality, doesn't it? Sort of the 80s arms dealer with a big old chunky mobile phone. Now, this next one you actually talked about earlier.
There you go. So that's the Kev Hopgood from. I'm going to find that. I've got a sheet here. Let me just find Destro. Where is? So could this be London Film and Comic Con, London Supercon 2013? From Kev Hopgood, and he was sat next to Jeff Senior, I think, and he was doing A3 or A2, and this A3 I think was £20. I want to say 30. It was 20 for an A4, £30 for an A3, and so did a Destro. Asked if he wanted reference. He said no, because he had drawn him quite a bit in Action Force Weekly. Kev Hopgood.
Yeah, although almost almost 40 years ago.
Yeah, 1987, I guess. So yeah, pleased with that one. Pleased with that one, definitely. Look at that size of that amulet he's drawn him with. Now, has there ever been any discussion about what that amulet is? What kind of gemstone it is? What its reference or what its relevance to Destro is?
A gem of that size.
I'm
sure there must have been.
I want a backup story, the details, what that is, and how it came to get into Destro's collection.
Yeah, my G.I. Joe sense is tingling, and I believe it's been referred to as like an ancestral kind of gem. I think they talked about it in Action Force Weekly a little bit.
Oh, really? Okay.
I believe there was some stuff about that in Action Force Weekly. Probably actually in no. I was going to say probably in a story drawn by Kev Hopgood, but I suspect it might have been a Mike Collins one. Okay, cool. What's up next? It's another Destro with an artist with and one of those signatures that would give you no indication as to who it is.
I think it's Jamal Eagle or Igle. I think. Let me just.
Yeah, I think you're right, though, Chief. I'm 99.5% sure that it is Jamal Igle.
It's Igle, and this was from London Supercon 2012.
Oh wow!
So this would have been I think the first con I ever went to was Kapow 2011. Then I did MCM that year in May. Then I did Thought Bubble that year, and then this would have been the fourth convention I ever went to, which was 2012 London Supercon. American artist. I'm trying to think what he'd done. I think he'd done a bit for DC at the time. And basically I said, Destro, he wasn't known. He hadn't done any G.I. Joe stuff. And I said, look, Destro.
Well, you say that. He had done a little bit. He'd done some for Devil's Due. Only a couple of fill-in issues, but yeah.
Okay, right. Well, that's, I said, do you want reference? And he said no. And boshed out a nice, kind of eloquent-ish headshot there, really.
It's very precise line work, isn't it? It's not a huge amount of lines there, and each one is kind of serving a purpose. And then that sort of he's done an arc for that. What would you call it? The collar
almost.
Yeah. So if you just look at the top line of the collar, it's sort of just one line, and it's just sort of serving to,
isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. It's sort of
you could say it's unfinished around that section where it kind of crosses over to his neck or whatever. But not every piece has to be finished to a
completely finished,
comic level detail. But just focusing in on that headshot is it's a nice piece.
It's almost like a design element. It's sort of like creating the sort of
it does work. Yeah, he's a nice guy as well. Nice guy, fun to talk to. Enjoyed. And larger eye pieces as well, so you can actually see the eyelid and the eyelashes. Almost. So, like you said a while back, very different interpretations of the character about how you draw, especially the mask.
Yeah. It's definitely sort of showing as a mask with a gap.
Whether it be skin tight, skin tight, as opposed to kind of angular.
And here we go.
Okay, John Royal. When did I get this? Let me have a look. Let me go back to my sheet.
This was before John Royal had started on the G.I. Joe covers.
Do you know when that was? When he started?
I don't off the top of my head. It was quite early on into the IDW run, I think.
So this was London Film and Comic Con, March 2014. So 8 years ago.
So I think he had done the what's the name? The crossover Danger Girl.
Girl, yes, that's right. The 4-parter.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the first time that he'd drawn the character.
You got something from him at this same con.
Yes, I got a Baroness in one of my sketchbooks from him.
That's right.
As well, but yeah,
and
a great modern G.I. Joe artist, and lucky for us to sort of be able to get a sketch from him. before he reached the dizzying heights that he has now. And I think he's one of these artists that is sort of very conscientious about the fine details and sort of planning out his sketch and so on. So I don't think that he massively likes sketching at cons. I don't even know if he does it anymore.
No, he had said that even back then at the time, he had said, he was a bit nervous and, doesn't want the limelight, etc. But again, a slightly different take here. Kind of obviously, he's got a J. Scott Campbell vibe to his art, but here we've got kind of a bit more brutish looking Destra as opposed to the very eloquent or elegant, I should say, Jamal Eagle art we saw previously. Here he's this kind of a bit of a bruiser, and more
much
sort of
more
straight
broad,
lines, broad, big chunky chain and amulet again. But nice headshot.
It'll give you a neck workout carrying
Look
that
at the
chain
thickness of his neck, the angle. It comes from his ear, it goes diagonal out, not straight down. It's going out. Love it.
Very good. Okay, Chief. This was one that I didn't even remember that you had until you shared it with me again.
No, I got no idea on this one. I was going through the collection the other day through some of the folders because I haven't looked at the art for a long time, and I came across this one, and I've got no idea. I'm trying to find it. It's not on my sheet because I stopped around 2016. I stopped kind of cataloging where and when I got stuff, but I will have. I remember taking the business card of the person, so I've got a stack of hundreds of business cards, so I will have it somewhere, and I'm going to look that out and see if I can remember when.
The artist is Inko I Takita, a Japanese manga artist based in the UK. She was born in Kyoto, Japan. She grew up with manga comics, and after graduating Kyoto University of Art and Design, moved to England, where she studied in St. Martin's College. She had a thirst for art. I
just figured basically I didn't really have any manga-esque art pieces in my collection, and I'm not a massive manga fan, but I thought, this would be interesting to see what she can do. It was 15 quid. 15 quid for a 2-person A4, and I'm going to say this must have been maybe 4 or 5 years ago now then, and it was definitely a London show. I don't know which one. I think it was MCM, and I just said Destra and Baroness, and she was like, cool. So I think
it's one of those happy accidents that happens at a con where you just sort of meandering around Artist Alley, come across an artist that you didn't know before, and just sort of intrigued by their style, and they can produce something that turns out really quite surprisingly good. And it's a really nice take.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I was more than happy to give it a go. And interestingly here, I like the fact that, and it's almost not the first thing you notice, but the Baroness's hair is not black, whereas everyone who draws the Baroness is going to draw black hair for the Baroness, but here she's left it white and kind of drawn patches of black around her, and it's not till really you look at the picture for a little while that you realize that. Well,
it's really interesting because it doesn't jump out at you going, oh, Baroness has got white hair here.
No,
it's really interesting the way that she's done it, sort of just
but some nice,
sort of like making you think she's got black hair, but without actually drawing the black almost.
Yeah, it's clever. It's very clever, but some nice subtle uses of color here. Big eyes on the Baroness, blue. That's obviously a manga-ish style, but the big eyes, but nice kind of soft blue. Even Destro has got some blue around his nose and lip and cheek area. So again, using colors to enhance the image, but not an overabundant amount. Just kind of helps to bring out some, I don't know, just some evocativeness to the art almost. But yeah, I was pleased with that one.
Yeah, should be. It's good discovery of that. And here we go. I've put in the corner the image that I think it was largely inspired by. So
Correct.
This is Lee Bradley, I think.
This is Lee Bradley, who I, who I had discovered at London Supercon, the first one in 2012. And he had done me a Snake Eyes at that con. And then I had said, oh, cool, can you do me an out of con Storm Shadow as a companion piece?
Uh-huh.
And then at Kapow in April of 2012, I got him to do a pre-order of a Destro, and homaging this cover. I can't remember if I asked him to homage that cover or if he just I think he possibly did it himself, but he was experimenting using non-white paper for all his art, so he wasn't really sketching on white pages. He was doing all different color paper and seeing how the art took, and he was using a lot of Tipex, or what in the States I guess you call it whiteout in his art, to do real stark whites on colored paper. So love the belt buckle. Love a belt.
I feel like him sort of that outreached hand holding the mask is like an homage to something, but I can't think what.
Yes, I think, is it Spider-Man? Someone holding a Spider-Man mask, maybe? Or
maybe.
I don't know, but I get the feeling. But again, you should colour green eyes for Destro. Who's ever going to draw Destro with green eyes? But it works. And again, it's not something that you initially see this image and you're like, oh, why has Destro got green eyes? It's only after looking at it for a couple of minutes. Even I didn't know. Now I'm I've had this piece for 10 years and only now am I discovering that Destro's got green eyes.
Yeah, I do like those eyes. I think those are great.
Yeah, very sinister looking Destro.
Yeah, it's sort of, and the use of the kind of that white and black, it to create quite sort of a stark, blocky approach, but it works. It works well.
Yeah. It's very silverish as well. I don't even know. That might even be a silver pen, possibly, for Destro's head, and then touches of Tipex whiteout around. Is it? I don't know. I think maybe
it could be, couldn't it? Because it's definitely
white
different tones
on his head. Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, just he was experimenting at the time, and again, like you said, happy accident last time. A happy experiment here on this one. But yeah, pleased with that one.
Here we go. Jeff Senior, sort of very classic Action Force artist. Set the tone for the UK Action Force series, really.
Yeah. So this is the one where I said earlier, Kev was next to Jeff at that London Film and Comic Con, and he was sketching A4 pieces. You got was it you or Peter got a Stalker from him?
I got a Flint from
Flint. That's what I meant. Yeah, Flint. That's what I said.
exactly what you said. So that's good.
That was a good one. But you got another. You got Destro in a full-on action shot here. Lovely. Look, flames behind, but the flames are just indicated by very simple lines. But that is, to me, that looks like flames without actually drawing flames. Always drew good blasts for coming out of guns, whether they be tanks, firing or guns. Just always did blast effects were very good from Jeff. And kind of less focus on the mask here, less kind of detail there, and the focus is all on the actual pose of Destro, that action pose. But love it.
Yeah, he's an artist who's just always conveys just so much energy.
He still does cons. He was at London Film and Comic Con the other week sketching, so you can still get hold of stuff from him.
Very good. And here we go, another G.I. Joe alumni. I've gone for the coloured piece here rather than the black and white one.
So this was Rollout Roll Call 2012. Andy Wildman, or I think he prefers Andrew. Andrew Wildman was at the show, and I got him to do me a couple of pieces. I think I got a Grimlock, I got this, and I got another G.I. Joe piece. I don't know if you've got this in the slideshow. The other G.I. Joe piece.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I've got that one.
Okay, there you go. So I got him to do these two, and I got John Paul Bove, who's a very, very good UK-based colorist, and he worked on a lot of IDW's Transformers books. Got him to color this piece, and he was actually coloring digitally at shows and laser printing out the images at the show.
Yeah, very unusual to have a colorist at a show. I don't think I've really seen anyone else apart from him doing that kind of thing.
Actually taking commissions on it at shows. Yeah. So
very organized.
So this is Destro in his secondary garb. Obviously, the downside here is he's missing the amulet and the bare chest. But yeah, interesting use of color here as well, because John's gone for the blue hue rather than the black, which the outfit was actually black.
Mm,
But again,
yeah.
it works. I guess if you do this, obviously colorists will know better than me, but is it difficult to color a suit in black and still maintain shadows, etc.?
Yeah,
So
it's a very old school comics coloring technique is to sort of color black as dark blue just to indicate it and allow it to be printed as well, and particularly on the older printing techniques where there's less room for sophistication of different
Now,
colors.
what's
And
these? Excuse me. What's the coil around Destro's right arm? What does that go to?
I don't know. I don't have the figure in front of me. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. All right. One for the viewers, listeners. What does that coil do?
Yeah.
What does it lead to? Who knows?
So
And
there
the
we
other
go.
one,
That's
yes.
the
So
second one, the Baroness.
the other one was another Baroness. Yeah, I like the fact here that I think there's a tendency, and I know the fanboys love it. I know they love the over sexualization of the Baroness, but I like a bit of a pared back version here, and Andrew's kind of gone for that here without, making her too sultry or too bosomy, shall we say. But yeah, just looks mean. And
Yep.
yeah.
I'm just looking at an image of the Destro and the version 2
Okay.
Destro, and actually the what Andrew's done has sort of really been to sort of pump up some of the details. So
Right.
on that sort of that hosing on his arm, it's barely there really on
artistic
I
license.
think exactly, yeah. So there we go. My GI Joe creds is rescued. That
Saved.
isn't a key feature of the original design. That's fine.
Cool.
And you got
another one,
Cobra Commander as well. Great
This
energy
was-
in this one.
I think this was from the next rollout roll call, which would have been
Mm-hmm.
2013 or 14. Yeah, good energy on this one. Motion as well. The cowl is swooping a little bit. Just the fact that his body is off center, angled. He's leaning into something. Fist clenched. Almost the little pinky's coming away on the trigger finger hand, on the trigger hand, which I like. So, yeah, like that one. It's a good one.
Oh, stop! Hammer time.
Hammer
so
time?
we've got some Larry Hammer sketches coming up next. That's the next theme.
Yeah, I see. You sent me earlier or Peter did. He's now charging quite a bit for sketches. Larry, is that right?
He's on the last con he was at. I think he's now up to $150.
Right.
He also put a Facebook post up the other day, which said something along the lines of, "Neil Adams once told me, if you give something for something to someone for free, they'll think it's worthless." So it's another way of saying that always charge, so that there's at least some value attached to it. So Larry has, historically been very reasonable for the price of his sketches.
Yep.
Whenever he's done them at cons and they've not sold, they've gone on eBay and they'll sell for multiples of the value that he'd actually charge at a con.
Yep.
So he knows that he's charging too little for the market price of his sketches.
Yep. I think
and he's also got arthritis as well, so it's less easy to just knock out these sketches in the way.
So I don't know if you've got. I got 3 sketches from Larry. I got this one from roll call 2012.
I've got them all lined up.
Okay, which was a sketch that he did for me there and then I think at the next one he had pre-done sketches that he was selling, as well as potentially taking sketches. But here, so this was, I've talked about this piece a fair bit, but this was at the time I was chatting to him and there was no queue, and I was like, why is one of the greatest living writers of all time got no queue? And it was, I suppose, my benefit because I had like a half an hour chat with him,
Nice.
and he was just telling stories about, not to the Joe fans will know that he is. I think he said at the time he was one of the only people in the industry that had done every single role from a creative point of view in terms of comics. So he had been a writer, an artist, a colorist, a letterer, an editor, and something else. And yeah, not many people have had all of those positions in their career, and he was one of a select few. But yeah, I just basically said Snake Eyes, please. And I know I said earlier, it's no fun just to go and say, draw me a Batman, draw me a Spider-Man. But when you've got Larry Hammer, I think it's fine to say, draw me a Snake Eyes. So he drew a very, very cool animated action shot for me here. It was 20 quid. So done.
Right.
And then I thought, well, this is a cool image, but I kind of would like it inked. So I scanned it and sent it to one of the best inkers in the business, Guillermo Ortego. And he absolutely smashed this one, knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it's great.
You're a fan of him. I know you've had a few of your pieces inked by him.
Yeah, I've used him on 2 of my pieces to get them inked and finished because yeah, he just does an absolutely knock-up job. It's not a case of just going over the lines. It is really finishing the images as
done a lot of
well.
work for Marvel. I think he's done work for DC as well. He probably worked for every publisher. He is one of the best inkers in the business. And yeah, he's really brought that image, don't want to say brought it to life, but he's added so much, the rope around the sword, just this fine line detail there, just to pick out the image, and then the splash from the Uzi, just almost like a brush being just kind of flicked onto the page.
Yeah.
Really, really pleased. Even the inside of the ejected shells have got a bit of cross hatching in there.
That's right.
Lovely stuff.
Great,
lovely stuff.
Great. So next one up from you. This I can see is 2014.
2014. You can see the number in the top, 16. So this was one of a number of pre-drawn pieces that Larry had done and was selling at the con. And yeah, this is one of 2 pieces I got. I got a Crimson Guardsman, and I got this one. And again, lovely piece from Larry. It's much more than a rough. Well, I suppose it is a rough sketch. It's not a finished sketch, but it's not super rough. He's put plenty of detail in there for it to be more than just a rough. And again, I thought, this might benefit from having Mr. Ortego do some inks. So that's what I did. Wow, look at that.
Side by side.
That is, yeah. Again, he's kept true to Larry's image, but he's fleshed out the backpack on the back. He's fleshed out the musculature on the right forearm, and lovely. He's got a kind of ink wash camo effect.
Yeah, that camo's great.
Fatigues. Yeah, really nice.
Job.
Really, and just the detail on the forehead, the crinkles in the forehead, and just the kind of shading and line work that he produces is, get this man on a G.I. Joe book.
Yep, that's what we always say. Yeah. And I know Larry has said before that he's not especially a fan of seeing his sort of rough sketches being finished.
Oh dear.
But seeing this one did bring to mind an instance where that did happen in a professional sense. That for this cover 251 of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, he had a very similar stalker rough that he'd done. And in this case, it went over to Mike Vosberg, who went over it in inks and sort of did his own take over it really, and sort of.
So that was that was just Vos getting hold of it and inking it for pleasure, or what was the purpose of that?
I'm not exactly sure how it all came about, because I think this Vosberg cover did see print as a variant as well. I'm not completely 100%, but I believe that was the case. So I don't know at what point that happened. It might have been IDW asking him, or it might have been a fan that had got the sketch and passed it across. Hard to know for sure, but yeah, an interesting parallel of something that we've actually seen
Yeah.
outside of just a fan's collection.
Yeah, cool.
Here's the other
Ah,
sketch
there you
that
go.
we talked about.
Yep. So that will be, I'm thinking about why not get, if I've got 2 done, why not get the 3rd one done? Inked, as it were. So yeah,
Yes.
I'll look forward to see what Guillermo can do with that one, actually, because there's probably quite a lot of scope, especially on the trousers and boots, to really flesh those out, I think.
Yeah. I don't know, because I think the numbers you said you thought that was a pre-done numbers, but I think Larry often will take like a numbered list
Yeah.
of
Well, yeah,
sketches,
actually,
and then
now that you mention that, you could 100% be right, and it's more than likely that I actually said I'd like a Stalker and a Crimson Guardsman. So you, yeah, now that
I think that probably is the
I
case.
think my, as we know, if you know the Chief, you know my memory is shot to pieces. So I think this is an instance where your memory is better than mine.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I think he takes like a numbered list and then works through them, which just goes to show the pace that Larry
Well,
was working at onto this con.
21
He's got to 21. It's probably
in
not
a
even the end.
convention, incredible scenes. Some people take
And
3 per convention.
and the standard that he works to is
Yeah.
generally is generally a full figure,
Yeah.
detailed, costume like this. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's great, and it's not completely finished, as we've seen, but it's sort of just really capturing the essence of these characters. I
Well,
love
there you
seeing
go.
Larry's
Excuse me.
sketches.
There you go. This has inspired me. Coming on here has inspired me to get this one inked. So look out for that one. I shall post it up in the Talking Joe Facebook group. So if you're not part of that, why not? This is where I'll be posting it up.
Okay, cool. Look forward to that. Up next, a random one. So tell us about this and how this all came about.
So this is a British artist called Dean Beattie, very good artist. I got a piece from him. It was a Power Man and Iron Fist from Thought Bubble 2011, and had found his work. Or was it 20? It might have been 2012. I think your brother had put me onto him, actually, as an
Oh, right.
artist.
Okay.
And liked his style, very sort of cartoonish, very weird proportioned figures. And he had created his own poetry book with original art from himself and other people. And as part of the Kickstarter, he had printed out this background template with all this guns and drugs paraphernalia and skulls and stuff, with a space in the middle, and you could get a commission of at the time he was drawing criminals and giving them funny names inside, but then he had loads of these blanks spare, so he was basically just taking commissions of any character. So I said, cool, let's get a cesspool and a crystal ball for another Talking Joe based piece of art. Yeah.
This is the Chief and Steve era, this one, I can see.
Yes. Yes.
There you go. S. Jones.
But I like it. It works really well. A couple of villains inside some villainous objects around the outside.
Yeah, it's nice. And yeah, I always like to see Cesspool as well. He's one of my favourites.
Mm.
Oh, here we go. Is another John Paul Bove coloured con sketch.
Yep. So this was Howard Chaykin, who had done covers and interiors, I believe, for IDW's Mark Brooks not Mark Brooks. Who wrote it? The guy who wrote. What's the series? The series is the 5-issue. I'm blanking on it now. It's really cool.
It's Max Brooks.
Max Brooks. Mark
G.I. Joe
Brooks,
Hearts and Minds.
Mark Brooks, of course, high-end Marvel artist. Excuse me, Max Brooks. Hearts and Minds, that's right, yes. And Howard Chaykin, absolute pillar in the comics community. If you don't know who Howard Chaykin is, you need to educate yourself, people. And he was there, and I said, Chuckles, and he said, yeah, cool. And then I handed it off to John Paul, and he coloured it at the con for me. So looks like Chuckles to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, good stuff. And Chuckles and Chaykin go hand in hand, because Chaykin did a lot of the covers to the Cobra series as well. So
right, of course he did. Yes. Yep. And
that would have been the reason you selected him, Chief.
There you go. But he is one of the funnest people. Not Chuckles, Howard. If you're at a con and he's there, just go and hang out at his table. He had a line of people, about 20 deep, And he basically stood up and he said, and he started, can I swear on this podcast? I better not. He basically said, what the F are you people doing standing in a line? You're not going to hear my stories if you're in a line. Everyone just crowd around the table and just kind of remember what order you were in. So he basically got everyone just to crowd around his table, and he's just telling stories about Will Eisner and Stan Lee and just from his past. And he's had a very, very eventful life, shall we say. And he's got a lot of PC stories and, you know, not non-PC, family friendly stories. So really fun guy, nice guy to chat to, and larger than life. And like we said about the Jamal Eagle piece with not many lines, here again, Howard's not used a fantastic amount of lines, but has used them to great effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he's a world-class writer as well as artist, so he can do it all.
Very good. What's up next? Oh, here we go into the first. I think this is the first of the full. Well, actually, no, that's doing it down. But it's a full-on commissioned piece here.
Yeah. Now, apologies, listeners, viewers, and Mark. You're going to have to vamp and fill for a while because I've just got to go and take my sweet potato out of the oven. I'll be 2 minutes.
Right. So what we are looking at on screen is a piece by Keith Burns. So Keith Burns is an award-winning aviation artist and illustrator. He's illustrated comics for the past decade, with Johnny Red being one of the more high-profile projects that he worked on, with Garth Ennis as the writer. He joined the Guild of Aviation Artists and won the award for Best Acrylic Painting in a Show, and is currently illustrating Ladybird Expert History Series on Second World War, written by historian James Holland. So Keith's ability to capture the power and drama of a scene never fails to capture the imagination and makes him one of the most exciting artists in the industry. So he's very much known for his aviation work. He's been working on the Commando comic over in the UK, and I think that's where his strength, you know, lies best when he's sort of working with planes and planes scenes. He's also did a fair amount of work on the Boys comic for Dynamite, which most of you know will know from the Prime series. So this was a commission that Chief tapped up Keith for after meeting him at various conventions, probably Thought Bubble. So Chief has got a collection of various planes by him, but I think this was the most ambitious project. So it's sort of inspired by the cover to, I think it's issue 33, where Wild Weasel, Ace, Lady J, and the Baroness have their aerial encounter.
Yeah, apologies about that, listeners. I'm having a sweet potato and prawn mayonnaise lunch. Yeah, so Keith Burns, I don't know what you said there, but Keith Burns was this was another example, Thought Bubble, of us basically looking at the guest list, Googling, this guy does a lot of aviation and military work.
Yeah.
To a very high degree. He was, you know, oil painting style. And now I think he is, for a few years now, he's kind of quit the comic scene and does, you know, proper full on art gallery style pieces. Please go and check out Keith Burns' website and you'll see some incredible pieces of work. But here, at the time he'd done The Boys, he'd done some fill-ins for John McCrea on The Boys with Garth Ennis, I think.
That's right.
Which was his comic work, and reached out to him and basically said, no, he had done. Yeah. So I hadn't done any G.I. Joe stuff. I had started getting some aircraft images, so Mitsubishi Zero, a P-47 Thunderbolt, Hawker Hurricane, and just started getting single pieces, and they're amazing. And then I think Peter had got a roadblock from him, and then I reached out and said, look, can you do me a commission? This is my favorite single issue of G.I. Joe, issue 34, and can you do a recreation of some of the scene or a scene from that? And then we added in some nice touches, like we put Candy and the Softmaster in the car, which obviously
Yeah.
doesn't happen in that.
Great touch.
The license plate says Chief 42, and I think that is the 42 a reference to the Candy Softmaster issue, possibly?
Oh, I don't
Is
know.
that
I
issue
was
42?
guessing it was your age at the time of the commission, but it could have been either.
I don't know. And then if you look at the trash can on the left, that's got a 34 on it,
Oh yes.
which is reference to the issue number. But look at the way he's got even the road or the tree and the house. It's just brushstrokes creating the structure of the house. He's not sketched the defined lines of the roof or the tree. It's just a brush. Bam! It's a painter. This is a painter at work here. And then
Yeah.
within that, he's actually drawn a guy grilling a hot dog on the porch of the house. So you've got little bits of detail in this very broad brushstrokey kind of art. But just look at the way the tree's bending underneath the rattler, which is creating that effect of
the
turbulence.
yeah.
And
Fantastic.
the wheels slightly, is that a hubcaps come off the wheel? I didn't even notice that before.
Oh, it looks like it.
In
Yeah.
between the front and rear wheel, it looks like a hubcaps come off the front, because you can kind of see some bolts maybe sticking out of the front wheel. Just absolutely sensational, just incredible. And you got the 4 characters in the 4 corners, kind of again referencing that issue.
Yep.
But this was, it's just amazing piece from Keith. It's probably in the top 5 of my collection of everything, not just Joe based, but everything.
Cool. I'm gonna.
Did you get anything from Keith at all?
I'm trying to switch over my headphones because they're running out of battery. So
not ideal.
With me.
Did you ever get anything from Keith? You can't hear me.
Oh, I can hear you. Yeah. I was just swapping out my headphones. Yeah. What have I had from him? I can only think of that roadblock sketch off the top of my head. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, man, loud and clear.
I feel like I must be forgetting something.
He's too good not to have something by him.
Yeah. I have a feeling that I've just always planned to get something from him, big and ambitious like this one, and just because I was waiting for the right piece, just haven't haven't done it.
Probably missed the boat there.
Yeah, probably.
But look at the Sky Striker. It looks, I don't know proportionally if that's right, but it just looks like an aircraft should look. It's just I don't know, but that's his specialty, is aviation and military vehicles.
Brilliant. Oh, there we go. I was on the Sky Striker theme here, so I lined up this next one, and one of the more recent ones, but this looks like it's probably 2017, so even this is I call it recent. Just goes to show how much time flies when you're having fun.
This is part of my Ghost Rider honor theme. So present artists with, I say I want Ghost Rider not on his bike, but on other forms of transport, and I give the artists like 3 or 4 choices, or if they want to come up with something different. And I basically just said to Rod, can you draw me Ghost Rider in a Sky Striker? And he's like, yep, can do that. And so this is what you end up with. Wowzers.
I had a comment here from Badger. This is seriously the coolest commission ever. I think that was probably for the Keith Burns one. Yep. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, it's this one is a lot of fun, as it's really really filling up the page.
Yeah, you got your money's worth here, and the massive laughing head in the background is cool. The 666 on the fuselage, on the body of the plane, and I like the fact that he's not drawn the Sky Striker to scale. So Ghost Rider's in there almost like his bike handlebars. It's almost like there's a bike inside the cockpit.
Well, and you don't want, if you're Ghost Rider, you don't want a sealed cockpit, do you? That's just gonna it's gonna cause all sorts of havoc.
Now, what does the JB on the tail fin refer to?
Ooh, Johnny Blaze.
Johnny Blaze. There you go, Mark. Marvel street cred is intact as well. Johnny Blaze, very good. I should get him to do another one with a DK for
Danny Ketch.
Danny Ketch. There you go. No one cares about any of the Ghost Riders after that, let's be honest. But yeah, and even, it's easy to get lost in this in terms of it's not just Ghost Rider's head in the background, it's also his shoulder, the spikes on his shoulder pad, the chain on the bottom left. That the backdrop is his jacket in the lower half of the thing. It's actually, take out the Sky Striker, and you would actually still have a very cool Ghost Rider image. Ghost Rider with his shoulder and his kind of upper torso, but then just stick that. Should I get this one coloured, do you think?
Oh, don't know. With the right colorist, it might be fun, mightn't it?
I think, the worry here would be there's going to be so much flame that if that is coloured too aggressively, then that could ruin it. But
yeah, you'd kind of want colour that's slightly knocked back, I think.
Yeah.
So that you've definitely got that Sky Striker as the forefront focus, with the rest of it being sort of slightly pushed back into the background. But you'd need a colorist that's got a little bit of a deft hand, I think, a little bit more subtlety. But yeah, brilliant.
But fine in black and white. Absolutely no. There's no need to get it coloured, but it could work well. So
yeah, Wigan must have had fun with that one. It looks like got a bit carried away.
You can tell, can't you? You can tell the artists that had a good time drawing stuff when you get something back like this, because when they go a bit balls out the bathtub, then it's good.
Exactly. Yeah, when you've given them something fun that they get lost in, it sort of always pays dividends. If you're getting an artist drawing something they don't really want to draw, it's sort of less likely to get the same sort of result.
For sure.
What we got next? There we go. This was from when you and me first met. This rollout roll call.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So this was rollout roll call 2012. You got an amazing piece by Atkins of Firefly blowing up Big Ben. I went for one of his A4 pieces of the Saw Viper. This was going to be the start of a Viper collection, and he is the only Viper I ended up getting. But yeah, I've got no idea why I chose this character for him to draw. But he did a great job.
Did this get drawn in one of your binds, or was it loose, this one?
No, this was on a loose sheet. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was was it pre-done?
This was pre-done. Yes. Yep. I don't know. Was he sketching at the show, or was he finishing off pre-done commissions?
Yeah, maybe because he's he does work sort of relatively slowly compared to some other artists. So when he's not able to get to the volume at the show. So there was an option when you bought your tickets to Rollout Roll Call that you could order a sort of an advance commission from Atkins, which was just a completely new concept to me. It was like, what, you can order it in advance and they can spend more time on it. Wow.
You'd been conning, like I say, my first one was 2011, but you'd actually done a lot of the UCACs.
I'd been at
the UK
quite a few
comic art convention,
but
that was
mid-90s.
Early noughties. Would that have been?
That was mid-90s even.
Was it?
They were running those and they stopped, and then I got out of the convention scene and sort of came back to it sort of around about this sort of time when they started up London Supercon and back at Rollout Roll Call. So I'd been away for a while and sort of moving away from the quick just few minutes at most sort of free,
which were probably
sketches.
Free. They were probably
mostly free. Yeah, but basically all free when I was a youngster going to the UCACs. And so this idea that you could pay more and get a very finished piece was a sort of a new concept that blew my mind. So took things to a whole different level.
And now James is too old for you to go to artists and say, do you for free?
Oh yeah, he's almost as tall as I am, so
can't get away with that anymore.
Yeah, he's still a youngster, but less.
I had
less
some kids. I had some kids come up to me at the trading card show just as it was winding down last weekend, and they're like, "Oh, have you got any free cards for kids? Got any free cards for kids?" And I had some Marvel stuff at the front, so I had a few packets of Marvel cards, and I go, "Oh, here you go, guys." And he looked at it, he goes, "What's this? This ain't Pokemon," and he just chucked it back at me.
All right.
So
Hard
idiots.
customer.
So this is a Keith Chan from Thought Bubble 2016, I believe. This is Thought Bubble that I was actually ill. Do you remember I had to go home early?
Oh, right. Crumbs.
And I think I got one of you or Peter to go into the convention hall and pick it up from Keith for me. And yeah, he, again, an artist that I didn't really know of. I'd seen his name on the list, Googled him. He was posting commissions on Twitter and liked his style, like the minimalist way that he wasn't, or that he was getting a lot from just effectively shades of grey and black.
Yeah,
And
sort of,
so
it's a lot of light and dark, blocking the colours and using that
blocking,
sort of
that's it, yeah.
white space to kind of
white
fill in the
space to
gaps.
create the lines. Yeah. And
It's really
I've actually
effective, this piece.
said
It's
a
great.
Baroness. Nice. You've got one of his, or Peter's got. I'm sure one of you's got something from him. Or maybe
Yeah, I
not.
think Peter has got something from him, I believe. I think he was on his Patreon. I might be getting confused with somebody else. I got something from him at my very first Thought Bubble. I think it was my first Thought Bubble as well. I got him a flash, and he was quite surprised that I was asking him for something.
Very humble, very nice guy, very humble, very, always like, oh, you want me to draw something for you? Oh, right, okay, I appreciate that. But yeah, very effective on the front of Baroness, the way he's used that white space to create almost a sheen, almost a bit of a shine.
Absolutely.
To her front armor. Very clever.
It's really effective.
Yeah. Good piece.
Brilliant. Here we go. Here's I want to say more recent, but it's this is still 6 years ago.
I will get that Crimson Guardsman that I'll get inked. That'll be the first G.I. Joe piece I've had in many years. Augustin Padilla.
That's right.
Is he's South American, is he?
I believe so. And he did some work on the very beginning of the IDW Larry Hama run.
Yeah, so this is in a bind that I did of
cool.
issue 155.5. He did that first arc, I think.
That's right.
And was chatting to him. Didn't really speak much English, but I asked him if he would. If I was trying to understand if his run got cut short or whether he was only optioned for those 5 or 6 issues, but I couldn't really. There's a bit of a language barrier there. But I asked him if he would ever want to do any more G.I. Joe art again, and he seemed to say yes. But I don't think he ever did. Did he ever do any more?
I don't believe so. Yeah, like he did that initial run, and I guess the way that IDW works is often they'll sort of commit to maybe a run of 4 or 5 issues or so. So that's probably what they did. And this sketch is cool, but I think it's not the most well liked of the art on that.
I liked his art. I liked that art.
Okay.
But yeah.
So it was, I think, just after this, then that SL Gallant picked up the reins. So.
Right. He reminded me a little. His art reminded me a little bit of Carlos Pacheco. I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's another chap, the guy who was doing like X-Force in, I guess, the late 90s. He had that similar sort of Polina. Yeah, that must be it.
Adam Polina. Yeah.
Sort of a slightly
little bit more blocky-ish.
Yeah, like a kind of slightly angular take on things. Cool. What have we got next?
More.
Oh, I think this might be the final one of the ones that I've got lined up.
Sure. Another great example of minimalist lines, but managing to create a great image. Cliff Chiang, who Paper Girls did he do, which is now a TV show?
Paper Girls, which dropped on Amazon Prime yesterday. I watched the
and Mark said the first episode is really good.
Really good. It was yesterday. I believe it had a Rotten Tomatoes score of 100%.
Okay.
So a lot of good noises coming out about Paper Girls. People are saying.
Have you read it? Have you read the book?
I have read Paper Girls. I own the 3 hardcovers.
Right.
And I have actually even read them as well. And I believe that there's a large compendium now.
A book that Mark has read, people. Wow.
Well, if you know anything about my collecting, is that my sort of my appetite for buying books is not as big as my capacity to read them. So so there's a lot of things that I like the look of that I buy that I don't actually ever get to actually reading.
No.
So
The key here
yeah.
would be get someone in to actually hide some of your books that you haven't read. And how long would it take for you to notice that they weren't there? I suspect you would never notice. But anyway,
Well, it depends.
Gung Ho, you got something from him as well? Possibly a peek
Yeah,
as well?
I got mine. I'll sort of actually move because I've got it
Storm Shadow?
over here.
So Cliff Chiang, Thought Bubble 2014, is that? 2014, yeah. You've taken
Okay.
pre-orders and they were fairly cheap as well.
Spoilers.
Oh, you got the
Very
Cobra Commander
cool.
and a Baroness, yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, very nice.
There's mine. Cobra Commander, Baroness.
Yeah.
In a frame on the wall.
Very nice.
So yeah, as you say, pre-orders.
Pre-orders.
And the pre-orders were they sold. You know, he's not one of these artists who's very popular. When he came over, he was working on the Wonder Woman series.
With Brian
very critically
Azzarello.
acclaimed, exactly. And yeah, and you know, one of these artists who's, you know, big hot name, but never been over to the UK before. Don't think he's been since. So a big demand for sketches from him. So he opened it up for these sort of small head sketches and at a reasonable price. And I think it went in a matter of minutes. Those sort of slots that he'd opened up. So yeah, we were ready, waiting, and able to sign up at the right time, and very fortunate. So
looks thick, doesn't he? He's made it again. Look at the neck. He makes him look very broad and thick. And I believe this was on another one of the sketch shows, and I think Tim pointed out, and I forget what the resolution was, but the tattoo on his chest is off center.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that was off center on the action figure, but and I can't remember what we discussed because obviously, as we know, my memory's terrible. But yeah, it's slightly off center, I think, but doesn't detract from the image. The image is still cool, but again, minimal lines to create a great effect.
Yeah, it's one of the artists that sort of doesn't necessarily do a huge, it just does a huge amount with just a few lines. There we go, Gung Ho. What do you look like? Yeah, that eagle's pretty
I'm
central.
saying that is off center.
Ever so slightly, yeah.
Ever so slightly. Maybe that's what Cliff was channeling. Yeah, well done, Cliff. A little bit of research.
I'm sure he looked it up.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's cool. It's always nice to get artists, like you say, that haven't come to the UK before and give them something. I'm sure he's never drawn G.I. Joe before. Well, I don't know that, but maybe he hasn't. So always nice to see and speak to artists that you otherwise, how else are you ever going to get to talk to these guys and girls?
Yeah, so. And and the artists sort of often sort of similar sort of age range to us. You know, they've grown up with the toys, the comics, and the cartoons. You know, given that most of them are American, that you couldn't help but avoid G.I. Joe if you grew up in the in the early 80s. So it's so it's just one of those things that kind of is in people's cultural DNA. And if it's not something you've had a chance to work on professionally, then a lot of people will just sort of relish the chance to have a go at their interpretation of it. Cliff Chiang did a very cool commission of the Baroness, which I believe was then made into a published cover, but started off life as a commission. And cool. Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse is in the house. You're just catching us as we wind things down, but you can catch it on the replay. We're glad to have you in our company. So good to sort of delve into the entirety of your sort of G.I. Joe sketch book.
Well, no, not the entirety, because there was a few we didn't. There was a few we didn't show.
Yeah. I did do a little bit of editorial picking of some, for time to make sure that I picked my favourites, and so there's a handful there that we didn't cover. But yeah, good to spend time with you, Chief.
Always a pleasure
in
to
your
come
loft.
on here and chat to my buddy.
Oh.
Yeah, listen, I am going to go down and have a sweet potato with prawn mayonnaise, and then watch 8 hours of Commonwealth Games. I've got some
bets
I've got,
on.
I've got a few bets on, but I've got some weightlifting to watch, badminton, netball, track cycling, swimming, I think is on the agenda today.
Right. Okay.
And then record an episode of What a Saga.
What a saga! So the things that you've got to promote at the moment are multitude.
Yes, hit me
And
up on YouTube.
I've not even got them all on down in the list below.
Hit me up on YouTube, which is Armour Geekdom. Twitter, I am on there, but not much anymore. I've kind of abandoned Twitter as a social media platform. You'll find me more often on Instagram under Armour Geekdom, as well as YouTube, and Facebook group Armour Geekdom Box Breaks. If you're into trading cards, Marvel, Star Wars stuff, hit me up there. And then What a Saga on Instagram or on your pod player of choice. 3 episodes out. We're doing 1 issue of Saga per episode. We're going to record episode 4 tonight, which will be out next Wednesday.
Oh wow! Okay, quick turnaround. The old editing.
Yep,
very good. And yes, I think when you're doing brand new things, we'll sort of generally try and highlight them on the old Talking Joe social streams as well. So you can find
always appreciate
Chief in the Facebook group as well when big things are happening. So...
also, in January, me and Ben recorded an Outer Timers Jaws audio experience special, and he's finally got around to editing it 7 months later, and that should be finished maybe by next week. So look for a 2-hour audio experience special on Jaws coming on the Outer Timers podcast network.
Just when you thought it was safe to remove the Outer Timers from your podcast stream subscriptions.
Incorrect.
So I look forward to that. They're always a lot of fun. I really enjoyed listening to the trilogy of Star Wars.
Appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Watch throughs. What do you call them? Watch alongs and commentaries.
Watch alongs, listen alongs. We've done them. We do these audio experiences. They're not
audio experiences.
We don't call them DVD commentaries. Not that people watch DVDs anymore, but movie commentaries, because we call them audio experiences because it's us pulling a lot from our personal experiences of watching these in the past. Mm-hmm. So it's not critiques of the movies. It's just we queue it up. So if you want to have the movie on in the background while you're listening, put the volume down a little bit, and you can do it that way. But also, if you just want to listen to it when you're out and about, you don't need to have the movie in front of you, because we're also picking movies that we believe people will have probably seen quite a lot, so they're familiar with most of the scenes. So
exactly, it's like you can
there's
completely
also
visualize it.
There's also talks of another one. He wants to do Die Hard, release that at Christmas. So I said we better record that now to give you enough time to edit it. So we'll see.
Yeah, give him enough time to edit. Fantastic.
But yeah, thank you very much. Thanks to all the listeners and viewers. Talking Joe, strength to strength. Love this pod.
Yeah. So if you want to find out more about us, the podcast, you can find out everything over at talkingjoe.uk.
.co.uk.
What did I say?
Talkingjoe.uk.
Okay. Talkingjoe.co.uk. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
So shall we do I thought I'd queued up the new one. Maybe here we go. There's the new sign out.
Okay.
Which goes like this. It goes, nobody beats Talking Joe, an international podcast.
Yeah, aware of that one.
But just for old time's sake, we can do this one. Well, that's us done. And when all's said and done, you can catch us down the road. Because
we've been talking Joe. I don't know who says what.
I can't even remember what we say.
And we're all out of Joes.
We are all out of Joes.
He's checking it. He's reading to make sure we got it right.
I'm trying to keep. I'm going slowly because I need to click a button. And let's say the very last bit together.
Laters.
Laters.